It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, episode 1071, and I'm Dr. Neil Malik. Hey there, happy Friday, and welcome to another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your health questions related to fitness, diet and nutrition, and lots more. You send me the questions, and I answer them for you. If you want to send in a question, come by oldpodcast.com/ask, or you can call in your question by dialing 61 I love OHD. And like I mentioned before, I'm now taking email questions. You can email your question to health@oldpodcast.com. Now I'm going to quote the wise Tyrion Lannister from the show Game of Thrones here. Quote, "A wise man once said that you should never believe a thing simply because you want to believe it." End quote. I feel like that quote sums up why I do these Q&A episodes. There are probably some myths, some nutrition or fitness or stress myths that you've heard about, and you're not sure who to believe at this point. Well, you can always send me a question, and I promise that I will look at the research and then provide an answer for you. And if you're wondering, well, what makes me qualified to do so, I have my Doctor of Public Health with an emphasis in chronic disease prevention and nutrition. I also have my Master of Public Health degree with an emphasis in health promotion and health education. I'm also a registered dietitian nutritionist, a certified health education specialist, and a certified exercise physiologist through the American College of Sports Medicine. So I hope I've encouraged you to send me a question. I love listening to and now reading your questions. It makes me super happy. And again, I just love doing these Friday Q&As. So with that, let's hear today's question as we optimize your life.
Hi, Dr. Neil. My name is Lauren, and my question is about body fat percentage machines. Which one is the most accurate? And is there a way that I can find out where I can locate one to go get tested?
Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for your question. Lucky for us, technological improvements have made the ability to test body fat very accessible. I should mention that I always encourage folks to get an idea of their body fat percentage. There are some very good reasons to know this information. This is because we can't always rely on body weight to accurately determine whether someone is truly at their ideal body weight. How much fat and muscle we carry are of course part of this equation, but so are our bones and organs and the amount of water we carry. But when we step on a standard scale, the scale doesn't know the difference between fat, muscle, our bones, and water weight. It just tells us how much we weigh, period. But if you're really active and participate in a lot of strength training, you may weigh more than what health professionals expect. So sometimes determining how much of a person's body weight is composed of fat specifically, as opposed to muscle, can be a more accurate measure of your weight status. Now, this whole process of understanding how much of your body is composed of water versus fat versus muscle is also known as body composition. There are lots of ways to measure body composition, but each has its pros and cons. They also range dramatically in their cost and availability. There's also different measurement errors that can happen. We also have to keep in mind that each body composition method has its own set of specific instructions that we need to follow carefully to be sure that the results are accurate. So, let's talk about some of the most common types of body composition tools and the pros and cons of each. First up, hydrostatic weighing. This is sometimes known as the dunk tank. That's because this process involves dunking the body underwater and measuring body weight while the body is submerged. So to do this, the person sits on a bench that's already submerged underwater. The bench is attached to a special dial that measures your weight underwater. So you climb into the water in your bathing suit, make yourself comfortable by sitting on the bench, and then, when you're ready, exhale as much air as possible. As you exhale, this is going to cause your body to sink into the water. Once you've exhaled as much air as possible, your weight is taken while you're still under the water. Then you come back up. Believe it or not, this is considered the gold standard when it comes to measuring body fat percentage. Ultimately, the person's weight on land is compared with their underwater weight. The entire process is based on the idea that fat causes us to float and lean tissue causes us to sink. The error rate of this method is give or take 1.5%. That means your body fat percentage after you do this test may be off by 1.5% in either direction. So let's say after this process, a person's body fat is determined to be 12%. This means their actual body fat percentage may range from 10.5 to 13.5%. So yes, there is some error involved. Now, based on the special equipment required for this procedure, you can imagine that this test is not readily available at your neighborhood gym. But many local colleges and universities have this equipment and will schedule the test for you for a small fee. Next, the bod pod. The bod pod is based on a similar concept to hydrostatic weighing. Instead of using water, the bod pod uses air displacement to measure body composition. The gym I used to go to had one of these set up in the back corner. It kind of looks like one of those old photo booths. You know, the ones where you and your friends would insert 75 cents into the coin slot, cram into the booth, close the black curtain, and pose for 3 quick flash photos while making silly faces. Anywho, a bod pod kind of looks like this, except it's shaped like a giant white egg. So the person being measured sits inside this small chamber that's shaped like an egg, while computerized pressure sensors determine the amount of air displaced by the person. Now, the entire process is quick. It takes about 5 minutes. And because you don't need to hold your breath underwater, this process is not as intense as hydrostatic weighing. It's also pretty inexpensive. As I said, many gyms actually have bod pods and will charge about $50 to run the test. But it's also not quite as accurate as hydrostatic weighing. Here, the bod pod error rate is about 3%. So again, let's say someone's body fat percentage is 12%. This means that their real body fat percentage could be as low as 9% or as high as 15%. Now, the test that's probably least available is something called the dual energy X-ray absorptiometry, or Dexa Scan. Just like it says in the name, this procedure uses low-dose X-ray energy beams to measure fat mass, where on the body that fat is stored, and even bone density. The entire process takes about 15 minutes, but because this is a highly specialized machine, it's usually only available at medical or research facility. The cost of the test is about $300, and unfortunately, we don't know yet how accurate it is. The percent error rate is still being studied. So I would say at this point, don't worry about a Dexa scan. All right, I got 2 more to discuss. And these last 2 are the most readily available. They're also the least expensive, but most prone to error. One of these is referred to as biological impedance analysis, or BIA. Here, a low-level, very safe electrical current is passed through the body. The more electrical resistance detected by this little analyzer, the higher amount of body fat. This is because fat is considered to be a less efficient conductor of electrical current. Whereas in leaner individuals, electrical currents pass through with little resistance. When it comes to these machines, although they sound really fancy because they're sending electrical current through the body, they're actually readily available and really affordable. When I used to see patients and train clients, I would carry one of these BIA machines around. You can find lots of these for sale on Amazon, at Walmart, in sporting goods stores, pretty much anywhere. Now, to improve the accuracy of this test, it's important to follow the instructions that come with the machine. Each machine is a little different and they vary in size. Now, the error rate for many of these BIA tests range from plus or minus 4 to 6%. Okay, so again, let's say the BIA machine you're using says a person has a body fat percentage of 12%. Well, because of the error rate, their actual value may range from as low as 6% up to 18% body fat. So quite a big range there. Lastly, there are these things called skin fold calipers. These require no technology whatsoever. Sometimes this skin fold caliper procedure is called the pinch test. Have you ever pinched the fat around your hips or your belly with your fingers? Well, this procedure is basically that, but instead of performing this on yourself and using your fingers, it involves an experienced professional using special calipers, which kind of look like smaller kitchen tongs. So this trained professional measures the amount of fat around specific areas of the body by pinching the fat that's found directly under the skin, and then they, using the little tongs or calipers, pull it away from the muscle. Those special tongs or calipers then measure the thickness of the pinch. Once the professional has all of their measurements, They then plug them into a special equation to determine body fat percentage. This is considered a fairly accurate test when it's performed correctly. So finding a highly qualified and well-experienced person to perform this is really important to get the most accurate results. Now, the cost of this test is up to the individual performing it, so the cost can vary quite a bit, but most practitioners are pretty reasonable. If you have a well-trained practitioner administering this test, the error rate is give or take 3.5%. So if after this skinfold caliper test, a person's body fat is calculated to be 12%, their actual body fat may range from as low as 8.5% up to 15.5%. All right, Lauren, as you heard, there are quite a few options for measuring body composition. Now, it can get frustrating because of all these ranges of error, but if someone is looking for a definitive answer, it may be worthwhile to try 2 or more of the affordable methods and then compare the results. That should give you a pretty good idea of actual body fat percentage. If you're looking for a quicker way to buy organic groceries and sustainable products from home, I've been a Thrive Market member for a while now and can't imagine getting my non-GMO and organic products any other way. Thrive Market is also a place for sustainable, non-toxic cleaning and beauty products. As a Thrive Market member, my paid membership also provides to someone in need, like a low-income family, a teacher, a veteran, or a first responder. I'm saving 25 to 50% off traditional retail prices on my favorite snacks and cleaning supplies, while helping to support communities in need through the membership matching process. And the best part? Their carbon neutral shipping is free on orders over $49. I'm a proud Thrive Market member. You will be too. Try it risk-free. Go to thrivemarket.com/OHD. Join today and you'll get up to $20 in shopping credit towards your first order. That's THRIVE market.com/OHD to start your risk-free membership and get up to $20 towards your first order. thrivemarket.com/OHD. And thank you again for the question, Lauren. You'll be entered into a very small raffle on the first of every month to win a book, which is tomorrow if you can believe it. So if you want to be in the raffle, send in a question by tonight. Just come by oldpodcast.com/ask. You can record right from your computer's microphone or call in your question. The number is 61 I love OHD. Oh, and email questions work just as well too. You can email a question to health@oldpodcast.com. All right, that'll do it for another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for your continued support. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow as usual, where your optimal life awaits.